Hello, my friends. Welcome back to 1111 Outdoors. We're taking a look at the Leatherman ARC. Carried this thing about a year, and it has performed in an outstanding way. It is by far my favorite Leatherman of all time. And that's saying a lot because I was a huge fan and still am a huge fan of the Wave series. I love the Wave. I think it's probably the best tool that has ever been made. And obviously, sales agree with me. It's the number one selling multi tool ever. And the ARC, in my opinion, is the only thing that could dethrone it. Now, I did carry the P4 and the P2 for a little while when the free series first came out. And I know when the free series first came out, people were not too keen on it because it was such a big deviation from the Leatherman lineup. The architecture of Leatherman tools has been pretty stable for many years. There's basically two camps of thought when it comes to Leatherman tools. You have the Wave and the Surge series, and then you have the Super Tool and the Rebar series. Most people fall in one of those two camps, and they're pretty dedicated to the platform, depending on which one they prefer. I've always been more of a Wave Charge Surge guy. I carried a Super Tool for a little while. I carried a Rebar for a little while. I gave it a shot, but I just couldn't. It didn't ever sell itself on me. Not in the way that the Wave did. Now I carried a pocket survival tool when I was a kid. I was lucky enough to have someone give me one when I was a young man. And I remember when they gave it to me, I was blown away. I didn't know that there was a such thing as a multi-tool. And you got to understand, this was way back in the 80s. And it was just a game changer for me. I mean, a lot of people thought it would replace a pocket knife. A multi-tool doesn't replace your pocket knife. It can, but I grew up in the country. Everyone carries a pocket knife. It has a dedicated purpose. Multi-tool doesn't really fulfill that, in my opinion. It can. I mean, if you're a person that really just doesn't want to carry a pocket knife, then a multi-tool can replace that. I carry both. I carry a multi-tool and a pocket knife every day, and I have all my life. Once a multi-tool was introduced to me, and I fell in love with it, yeah, it had a place in my pocket, no doubt. My EDC, that was back before EDC was even a actual term. We carried what we needed, and I didn't know I needed a multi-tool until I knew of its existence. Anyway, that's a little history for you. But I started out with that pocket survival tool way back in the 80s, carried it forever, and then the Wave came out. And I remember just being blown away by the Wave. I picked it up and I didn't look back. It was amazing in my opinion. I took the Wave with me all over the world. Then I started working in a heavy duty construction scenario, and I started carrying the Surge because the Surge is basically a Wave that is just bulked up, super tough Wave, and I carried that for a long time when I was working construction. But it is a big, heavy tool. It's heavy duty stuff. If you're working construction or something like that, you're probably going to want a super tool or a Surge. I mean, it's just a very powerful tool. Then later on, when I stopped working such heavy work, I started carrying the Wave again, and I even moved into the Skeletal situation. I carried a Skeletal for a little while because I was working in engineering. I was working in offices and whatnot, and the Skeletal just kind of fit the package better than a big bulky Surge or a Wave. And I'd cycle the Skeletal with my Wave, and that worked out for a while, for quite a while, many years. Then you get to recent history where the free series came out. Now, the thing that sold me over the Super Tool and the Rebar with the Wave and the Surge series was access to tools. I could access 4 tools from the outside of the tool, and I didn't have to open up everything to just dig everything out like you have to do with the super tool and the rebar. And for me, that was a huge game changer. I mean, being able to access 4 of my main tools, the ones I use pretty much the most, was a big game changer for me. And that was a sale. That was what sold me on the platform. When the free series came out, it was that and more. I could access those 4 main tools, but I could also access everything in the internal inventory other than the pliers. And not just access it, it's the way you access it. Like you literally just roll your fingers and you have everything. And you could do it with one hand. You take your one hand and just roll your tools. Choose what you want. Use it. The lock is over here. Store it. And it's like that with every single implement on the tool. To me, that was a big deal. I could get my knife, I get my internal tools, all with one hand. That was a big deal for me. Now, the other thing that was a big deal for me was that you could just sling this open. It's very, very strong. Don't get me wrong. It's very, very strong. And it does move really freely, hence the free series. But it is very, very strong. I like that. People do this like, sling it open, this butterfly. I don't have this space right here to do it, but I can just pop it open with one hand. And there are some people that have like a wave that's like really, really worn or loosened up, and it'll sling open like that, but it's really not the same thing. They'll say it is, but it's not the same thing. You have to carry this and use it to understand what I'm saying. But to me, that was it. And the ARC wasn't even a thing at that point. There was the free series came out, and the free series was the P2 and the P4. I recently gave my P4 to a friend. I hope he's getting some good use out of it. The first P4 I had, I gifted it as well. I think that a free series P4 is pretty good tool to start out when you're a young engineer or young man entering the workforce. That's usually what I gift people is either a wave or a free series. If they're into the free series, I go ahead and let them. I gift them a free series. Anyway, this gentleman worked with me. He's a good guy. Really like him, and I gifted him the P4. So I only have the P2. I'll get me another P4, but right now I only have the P2. But the P2 and the P4 had the same issue or had the same problem. Your tool set on them is extremely, extremely limited. Like the internal tools are very limited. You have this set of tools, which is, it'll get you by, but it's extremely limited. On the other side, you have this business. But you'll see there is no bit driver. And for me, that was a thing. I needed the bit driver. And this is a decent set of tools. This will get you through. But I needed that replaceable bit driver. So I loved the free series, loved the way that it was designed. Everything about it just sold itself to me. It was a better platform in my mind instantly. The Wave series has the better tools, but this was a better design. So I wanted them to come out with a design that had the better tools of the Wave with the architecture of the P4 and the P2. That's what the ARC is. The ARC is the blend between the free series and the Wave series, because all the tools that you have in it are very similar to the Wave series. Here's your replaceable bit driver. For me, this is a game changer, because I have ratchets and all kinds of things that I can snap into here that help me out. I have a big extender that I can put on there to really reach deep into areas. This is a game changer. They make all kinds of things that go in here. I even have a spork that goes in here. There's all kinds of stuff. And the other tool set with this micro driver. This really comes in handy when you're messing with electronics and whatnot. This is a very, very, very good tool set. This is the tool set that I wanted in the P4 and the P2, and that's what the ARC was for me. It was that step up. They actually crossed that bridge and actually gave us the tools that you needed in the platform that I think is the better evolution. Got a full-size file, got a nice saw, got a very good pair of scissors, and then you get to the blade. And let's discuss this blade. This blade is a MagnaCut blade. And if you're not familiar with MagnaCut, MagnaCut is the current sweetheart steel that everyone's in love with. They will say that this steel is worth $100. I don't know if I agree with that. I have a ton of blades. I have an extensive knife collection and multi-tool collection. I'm very, very, very familiar with blades and all the different steels, from the common steels to the exotic steels. And I'm not sure what world people live in that they think they need something this on this level at this price point. Because, I mean, it's been outstanding. Don't get me wrong. It's a great blade. It really is. I love it. And I would have, obviously I did. I sprung for the one with the MagnaCut. And it has performed quite well. I've had to sharpen it a few times. It's not that hard to sharpen. It does hold an edge pretty well. But, I mean, do I just wake up in the morning singing its praises because it works so much better than the other steels? Not really. No. I've never once just said, whoa, this MagnaCut is just the most amazing steel I've ever seen. It's really not. It's the sweetheart steel of the moment. And there will be something else come along, and we'll forget MagnaCut, and we'll be talking about whatever it is that somebody's going to tell you is amazing and sell you more knives. Not really into that kind of silliness, but a lot of people are. For me, you could have taken this tool, given us just a simple blade, just like is on every other multi-tool. I mean, when the Surge came out, they had this steel that was just, it was the S30V, and everybody was like, oh, so much better than what's on the Wave, it's so much better, right? And I got it, used it. I couldn't tell you the difference. I mean, it's I don't know. People are like, on reviews and stuff, they dig through cardboard, they cut rope, they do all kinds of madness as far as showing you that the blade can cut. Well, I certainly hope the blade can cut, but I don't know if you're going to be hacking through an entire Amazon warehouse of cardboard or whatever it is these people think you're going to be doing, but for the most part, the blade's going to work just fine. Any of the steels that modern blades come with is pretty good. In fact, I got a new knife the other day that has D2 steel on it, and it is outstanding. Has more to do with the way the steel is composed and heat treated than what it's made out of. And there will be arguments about that. I'm sure someone in the comments is going to rage about, steels. People get really emotional when it comes to their steels. Anyway, I'm getting out of topic here. The point is, I've carried this for a year. The blade is very, very good, but you could have given me just a normal blade, the same blade that Leatherman always puts on their stuff. Maybe even the S30V. That's no longer a super steel, I guess. This is the sweetheart. You could give me that, and you could knock off $100 off of this price. And I hope they do that, because I would really love to see more people experience what I've experienced with the ARC. If you knock off that $100 from that MagnaCut, you could lower the price of this. Right now, this tool, I think it goes around $230, which is pretty steep for a multi-tool. For me, it's worth it. I'll definitely pay it. But for most people, that's probably pretty steep. And with the economy the way it is, I can totally understand people that don't want to drop, 2 bills, almost 2.5 bills on a multi-tool. So, Leatherman, if you're listening to me, you can make this available with $100 charge, but also make an arc that just has a normal blade, and you could offer it to people for 130 rather than 230. And I think that would be a great selling point for most people. So for me, that's really the only thing that I would complain about is the blade. I mean, like I said, I love it. It works great. I wouldn't change it off of my tool. If they offered it for $100, I would still get it. But I hear a lot of people say that it's just too steep of a price, and it is because of this MagnaCut situation. But if you carry a multi-tool every day and you save the day every day, like someone with a multi-tool does, and if you carry one, you know what I'm talking about. There's not a week goes by that somebody doesn't need help, or I don't see a situation where there's a problem that I could solve with this that I consider a universal problem solver. And for me, that is absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it. I know matter where I know no matter where I go, I'm prepared. This tool can handle any situation I'm going to run into. This, coupled with experience and skill set, will get you through, I'm telling you, anything. You could fix anything if you just have the skill set, the experience, and a good proper tool. Now, I think this is the best tool Leatherman makes. This is the only tool I'll carry. I used to rotate through my Leatherman. I would carry a different tool every day because I really enjoyed that. But now if I carry another tool, I always wish that I'd had this. I'd never had a tool just replace all the other ones like that. But for the most part, and I carry one once in a while just for nostalgia or just for fun, but I still carry this with me anyway because it's just the tool I want. It's the tool that works the best. I can do every single thing with one hand with this tool, truly one hand. Now, if I carry my wave or my surge and I'm all opening up the tool and nail nicking things to get it out, for me, that's where we were. That's not where we are. And where we are is in the age of the arc. Agree with me, disagree with me. I'm totally open to your opinions. If you love the Wave series and the Charge series more, I get it. I get it. I was absolutely sold on that architecture for a long time. I was very comfortable with it. But I am a person that evolves quickly. When something comes out and I think it's advantageous, I move in that direction. I see if I can use that. If I can utilize new techniques or new equipment and it makes me better, faster, stronger, I'll do that. And the ARC has absolutely done that for me. Like I said, you could agree, you can disagree. That's the whole beauty of it. I mean, the Leatherman family, there are people that still carry a rebar and love it. I think one of Tim Leatherman's favorite tools is the rebar. And for me, that's some primitive stuff. But if you love it, keep going with it. I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. I can't tell you what will work for you because you have to figure that out. And this is me figuring out what works for me. And the ARC is what works for me. Long story short, the ARC is where it's at for me. After a year of use, I am absolutely happy with it. I am not going back to any other platform. I would love to see this platform evolve into even more of a affordable tool. That's the only thing I'd like to see Leatherman do is make it just a little bit more affordable. And I think we could do that by losing that MagnaCut blade. Like I said, make it as an option, not as a mandatory thing. So, if you're looking for top of the line Leatherman multi-tool, in my personal opinion that's based on a well-honed skill set and years of experience, this is what I recommend, the Leatherman ARC. 1 year later, and I'm absolutely happy with it. Well, thank you for listening to my rant on my favorite multi-tool. Thank you for spending time with me. If you could do me a massive, massive favor, if you could please like and subscribe this video, I would be absolutely, absolutely in your debt. Subscribing to your favorite person's videos, or someone you like their videos, is what makes them be able to make future videos. So subscriptions are important. So if you could like and subscribe, man, I would be absolutely in your debt. Thank you so much for spending time with me. This is 1111 Outdoors. We'll talk to you soon.